Hello. This week we'll just go over lessons 6 to 10 in preparation for your little quiz that you'll do this week. Same as before, open book, and every day I'll try to put it so that it's open, and just do your best to go through it and complete it. So in this unit, we talked a little bit about flowcharts and the idea that we can have branching. Again, nothing new here. So I just gave a little example. You do this. Then with this sort of diamond, you have a question. So in this case, are you a WGSS student? True or false, yes or no? And then that will branch it out. So maybe that you can go directly to class and then attend the event. However, if you are not, you might have to report to the office first and then attend the event. So just the way of branching. Strings, another thing that we've talked about, again, nothing new. Strings, so we just have to differentiate between integers, for example, and strings. So obviously if you put things in quotation marks, you're going to end up with the computer dealing with it differently. So 12 plus 12, everyday math, we get 24. But if you're adding strings together, we're concatenating strings, we would really get 12 plus 12 is 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so it's not a number, it's treating it differently. Same thing if it was AB plus AB, they would do the same thing. WGSS plus 2018, right? You would get 2018, WGSS 2018, just the concatenation. If you multiply a string, that's string replication, and you get just WGSS 3 times in this particular case, because you've got multiplying it by 3. That's what the multiplication does. It replicates the string. The other one there, WGSS, we've got one of those escape characters, okay, the \n in this case. There's a few others, but that \n, even though there's not a carriage return or an enter here, it will press enter basically. So depending on where this is, home of, right, that becomes on a new line when it prints out. Booleans, we've talked about truth tables long ago, so just being very careful that AND is kind of more restrictive. Both of the items have to be AND before they are, both will evaluate to true, right? Both have to be true, before they evaluate to true. If one of them's false, the whole thing's false. If one or more is false, right? And of course, here is the double ampersand, okay, or is the 2 lines, and so this is more permissive. It lets basically everything be true unless both are false. And then of course the not, or the exclamation mark, is just your opposite, right? So whatever was true becomes false, whatever was false becomes true. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind there. Pseudocode, there, it will give you the pseudocode that if you need to work through. We've talked about the little bit of differences. One thing, in JavaScript, the pseudocode is kind of weird. So in JavaScript, obviously the assignment is 1 in the assignment operator saying, this variable is set to whatever value. The equality sign, just like in C++, we have the double equal sign. However, in pseudocode, right, you've got this kind of arrow less than dash, which is supposed to be representing an arrow. So 5 is assigned to my variable. I don't know why they do that. That's the way they do it. Very confusing. I agree. And then, of course, then in pseudocode, they use the single equal sign to represent equality. Not my choice, but that's how the AP Computer Science people have done it. I really don't know any language that doesn't use the equal sign for assignment, so I'm not sure. I think it just creates more questions, but that's how it is. So basically, we know the equals and double equal signs, right, what they mean. JavaScript does have the triple equal sign, right? That was the not caring if it was a string versus an integer, right? This double equals doesn't care. A string could be the same as a integer, okay? If 12 as the string would be the same as 12 as the integer. But if you use the double or triple equal sign, that's not the case. Anyways, the pseudocode though, right, just that arrow pointing towards it, meaning the single equal sign, and then the single equal sign meaning the double equal sign, the real equality sign. All right. You always have to be careful when you're dealing with inequalities and ifs and just making sure it actually does what you want. So what code would you write to say that if the temperature is between 20 and 25, you can wear short sleeves? Well, here it is, right? So if the temp is greater than 20 and the temp is less than 25. So it has to make those both conditions, set both of those conditions to be true for you to do something, right? So that's just being careful there. If you did or, I mean, that could be 400 degrees, right? So you just have to be a little bit careful because it wouldn't be as wouldn't be quite the same there if you put in or, right? It would basically be any temperature would cause you to wear short sleeves. So just be careful with those, that you're being very precise. And last one, same idea, but in this case, you need to be careful the order that you put in if you've got if and else if. One thing I think I mentioned last week was that the AP exam doesn't actually have if and else if. You just daisy chain a bunch of ifs together, but the same idea, right? Because it always checks the first, and if that's true, then it skips all the rest. So you have to be careful with the order, usually being more specific to more general. A student does not want to waste time choosing what to wear, so they developed an app to take the forecasted high temperature and decide what to wear. That sounds very practical. Do you think it would work as intended? So we've got here, if the temperature is greater than 30, wear shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops. Yeah, seems like that makes sense. So if it's 31, 32, we'll do that. If the temp is less than 30, wear shorts, t-shirts, and runners. That sounds reasonable. Temp is less than 20. Sounds good, right? But what's the problem here? Oh, I know, you're yelling out the answer. I know how excited you are to give me the answer. I'm sorry, I can't hear it. But yeah, obviously, this is, the next thing. So if it was over 30, no problem. Okay, actually, there's one problem there too. What happens if the temperature was 30? Okay, we don't have anything to deal with that. So always be careful of that because we have a missing value. Second thing there is if it was minus 20, it would say that would be, is minus 20 less than 30? Yes, therefore you would wear shorts, t-shirts, and runners and be pretty cold. Okay, unless you're Mr. Fleming who runs to school when it's minus 10 in shorts, but yeah, so you'd have to sort of change the order around here, right? So yeah. It's just being usually most specific to most general. Like less than 20 is a bit more specific than less than 30, right? It's this narrower range. So just be aware of that, okay? So I think that's really all. You might want to look through things. There's no real time limit for doing that test, so I will do my best every morning to make it available to you, and then you can go ahead and do it. All right, so good luck with that. I don't think it would be going to be too bad. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, good luck.